Well, the bombshell has dropped, ladies and gentlemen. Elizabeth Warren has now come out and announced her plan to eventually get to Medicare for all. So let's see. Today is November 19th. If you didn't see it, I would encourage you to go back, watch a video that I made October 22nd, 2019. 3 days short, basically, of being an entire month. Okay? I made a prediction. Now, a few of my predictions, the overall prediction has turned out to be correct. But a few of my suspicions as to how she would go about this little change in policy wasn't quite spot on, but at the end of it, I did call that she would do this, and I did call that she would flip-flop the Medicare for all position into something else, which we're about to get to in just a moment. Okay? I predicted that a month ago, and the reason that I predicted that is because, one, Elizabeth Warren has a history of just flat-out lying. Okay? She lied about the reason she was fired from being a special needs teacher. She gave a different reason back in, early to mid 2000s, I think it was, as compared to one she just gave earlier this year or something, right? I think it was like earlier this year, she said she basically got fired because she was pregnant. Over 10 years ago, she gave an interview and said, I was only teaching the first year on an emergency certificate. I didn't have all the qualifications, so I had to go back to college. And when I got there, I was like, I don't think this is going to work out for me. So basically, 10 years ago, she said she quit because she wasn't up to the task. And then earlier this year, she blamed it on a issue that would pull at heartstrings, saying that basically they fired her because she was visibly pregnant. Okay, lie. For years, she went around claiming to be Native American. Lie. Okay? She's even in a freaking cookbook from years ago as a Native American. Not just any cookbook, by the way. Pardon me. A Native American cookbook. Okay? So, with that being said, I now want to take a look at an article. Hill Rising did a piece on this a day ago. And now I want to take a look at an online news article so we can see just exactly what Elizabeth Warren's new plan is for how to eventually get to Medicare for all. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts, was the final presidential candidate fully on board with a swift and complete Medicare for all overhaul of U.S. healthcare system. No longer. Like the other Democratic contenders, Warren has somewhat softened her position on the sweeping and what some term radical Medicare for all system envisioned by Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. On Friday, she released a proposal to first adopt a public option approach similar to what the race's moderates are calling for, a marked shift from her previous calls for quickly moving all Americans to government-backed health insurance. Warren introduced her proposal this way. Reading from a tweet here. Today, I'm sharing my plan to transition to #Medicare for all. In my first term, we will reverse Trump's sabotage of the ACA, or Affordable Care Act, lower drug prices, lower the Medicare age to 50, and create a true Medicare for all option and fully transition to Medicare for all. Okay, so what's the big takeaway from all this? This is to make it short and sweet here, okay? What she's basically saying is that she wants to start with the public option and get that passed. Then, so many years down the line, she then wants to pass Medicare for all too. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's also, as a way of paying for some of this stuff, wanting to get some immigration reform or something done. So if you don't see the problem with what her game plan is, let's just take a quick breakdown of that for a moment. Barack Obama, when he got elected, came into office, 2009. So over 60 votes in the Senate that were Democrat, and he had the majority in the House of Representatives. He couldn't get a freaking public option. He couldn't even get that done. What we got with all those votes was this watered down, based on Republican Richard Nixon's old concept, okay, that, by the way, not even one Republican voted for. Not one. And that's the best we got with Obama. So in other words, main point, it is very hard when all these politicians are bought by Big Pharma and the military-industrial complex. It's very hard to get them to vote against their donors. And it doesn't matter if they have an R after their last name or a D after their last name. It doesn't matter. They're going to vote for their pocketbook. The pocketbook that's getting money from these people to fund their re-elections. Obama couldn't even get the public option done. So, in the real world, Trump couldn't get immigration reform. Obama couldn't get a public option. But you, the almighty great Elizabeth Warren, are going to first get the public option, then get Medicare for all, and get immigration reform done. And so everyone on Capitol Hill is just going to bow down to you and go along with your plan. No rebuttal, no argument, and so we're going to get it done. No, here's what's going to happen. If she gets the public option through, it will be because that's only just a tiny little bit different from Obamacare. So all those corporate, like the Joe Bidens who are already pushing public option, are going to vote for that. But they won't vote for the Medicare for all. They won't vote for that, period. Okay? They won't do it. They just simply won't do it. And so her way of not coming out and sounding completely hypocritical and looking like a complete idiot here is to get ahead of it by saying, I'm going to do it in steps. We're going to do it in steps. Now, that is just a two-faced, double-talking way of saying, no, this is what you're going to get. Because we're going to pass this, and then she wants you to believe it's just some incremental step. Now, what it is, that will get passed, and then the other will get tabled because they won't vote for this. Oh, look at this. We already did this. Let's give everybody health care. Everybody's fine. They won't vote for it. It'll go nowhere. It'll go nowhere. And in the meantime, she has strategically set this whole thing up so it doesn't make her look hypocritical in the sense that she has not actually come out and said, I'm for the public option system and not for Medicare for all. Because she's saying, oh, I'm just going to take it in steps. No. If you were going to go for something, Liz, you could have at least gone for what Tulsi has clarified more or less her plan is going to be, which is, everyone pays into Medicare for all, but then if you want to buy private on top of that, and not just supplemental, but even the same thing you could have gotten with the Medicare for all, if you want to buy private, it's because you think private's better, you have the option to do so. If you'd at least gone with that, that'd be one thing. But what she's come out in favor of is basically Buttigieg care, Pete care. Okay? That's what she has basically said she wants to start with. And of course, who was giving Pete Buttigieg all this crap in the last debate? When he said Medicare for all who want it. You mean Medicare for all who can't afford it. So why are you going to start with that ass clown's health care plan? That makes no sense. But again, we're 3 days short of 1 month ago. I said this would happen. I said She wouldn't go through. And the reason why was there was this old man doing an interview named Harry Reid, an old Democratic establishment insider, who said, "Oh, well, let's just see what her stance is in time." And then that interviewer said, "Oh, you think she's more pragmatic?" "Oh, I know she's more pragmatic." Same thing. I said the same thing Kyle Kalinske said over on Secular Talk. This sounds like someone who's been in communications with this woman. This sounds to me like someone who has talked to her and knows what her private position is, the one she doesn't reveal to the public. So this is old business as usual, same old, and I called it a month ago, but for all of you people out there who think that Elizabeth Warren is this truly great candidate, she is the wolf in sheep's clothing. People have argued that for Kamala, Buttigieg, Biden, but Warren is the one who's actually really got some real grassroots support from the far left in some areas like Bernie, because she's tried to really tie herself to Bernie's, coattails here, okay? But she is behind the scenes so in bed with this establishment, man. So deeply in bed with the establishment. It is not funny. It is really bad, and it is really sad. And if she gets the nomination, I said it then, I'll say it again, Trump is going to wipe the floor with her. Because all these double policies, all these double positions, he's going to have a field day calling her out on it, exposing all the history of the lies. She is going to fall like a ton of bricks, and she cannot beat Donald Trump. So, just plain and simple. She's not going to be able to do it. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and like the video. Also, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask, or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop a comment in the comment box below. And also, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell so you'll stay up to date when we drop new videos and you'll get notifications of it. And also, please support us on Patreon. Funds are going to be used to grow and improve this channel so we can reach more and more people and spread the message that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell people. We hope you'll tune in next time.